Hey everyone, welcome to the Book Lounge. Quick question for you. Have you ever felt like your to-do list is endless, your focus scattered, and your results, well, less than extraordinary? What if I told you there's one simple thing that can transform all of that? In today's video, we're unraveling the powerful lessons from The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, a book that has helped millions cut through the noise, focus on what truly matters, and achieve extraordinary results. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll discover how to clarify your priorities, say no to distractions, and unlock the secret to lasting success, whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal growth. If you're tired of spinning your wheels and ready to work smarter, not harder, this is the video you can't afford to miss. Let's get started. Chapter 1. The One Thing. The first chapter lays the foundation for a transformative idea. Success isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. It challenges the popular belief that multitasking and juggling endless priorities leads to extraordinary results. Instead, the authors argue that at the heart of success lies focus. Not on 10 things, not even 2 or 3, but on the one thing that makes everything else easier or unnecessary. The chapter begins by introducing a powerful question that becomes the backbone of the book. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? This isn't just a productivity hack. It's a way of thinking that can redefine how you approach your work, your goals, and your life. The authors emphasize that distractions and diluted efforts are the enemy of success. The world bombards us with endless options, obligations, and noise. But the truth is, not all tasks are created equal. Some things matter far more than others, and those things deserve our undivided attention. By narrowing your focus to the one thing that truly drives progress, you magnify your impact and achieve extraordinary results faster than you ever thought possible. The domino effect. A striking analogy in this chapter is the domino effect. Imagine a line of dominoes. Push the first one, and a chain reaction begins. But what makes this metaphor truly powerful is the exponential potential of dominoes. A single domino can knock over another one 50% larger than itself. Start small, and over time, the momentum builds to topple massive goals. This principle applies to life. By focusing on the right domino, the one task that matters most, you set off a chain reaction that leads to outsized results. The trick is to identify the one domino that, if toppled, will make everything else simpler or irrelevant. The myth of balance. The chapter also takes aim at the concept of work-life balance. The authors argue that balance is a myth that creates unnecessary pressure. Instead, they introduce the idea of counterbalancing. Success in any area of life, whether it's your career, health, relationships, or personal growth, requires intentional imbalance at the right times. When you're clear about your priorities, you can dedicate focused energy to what matters most, even if that means temporarily putting other things aside. This isn't about neglect, it's about strategy. The key is not to stay perfectly balanced, but to shift your focus intentionally, depending on what your one thing demands at the moment. The danger of to-do lists. Traditional to-do lists also come under fire in this chapter. The problem isn't that we make lists, it's that most lists lack focus. They treat all tasks as equal, giving us a false sense of accomplishment when we check off the easy stuff while ignoring the important work. The solution? A success list. This isn't a list of everything you need to do, but a distilled, prioritized list of the few things that actually matter. The authors recommend whittling your tasks down to the one most impactful action you can take. It's not about doing everything, it's about doing the right thing. The power of purpose. Underlying this chapter is a profound truth. Extraordinary results come from clarity of purpose. When you're deeply connected to why you're pursuing something, it's easier to identify your one thing and commit to it fully. Purpose fuels passion, focus, and persistence. Without it, you're more likely to drift, scatter your energy, and settle for mediocrity. Practical application. The chapter closes by urging readers to embrace the mindset of one thing. It's not just a philosophy, but a habit that can be applied daily. 1. Ask the question. Start your day by asking, what's the one thing I can do today to move closer to my goals? 2. Eliminate distractions. Protect your focus fiercely. Turn off notifications, block time on your calendar, and say no to anything that doesn't align with your priority. 3. Commit to action. Knowing your one thing isn't enough. You have to act on it consistently. Small, purposeful actions compound over time to create extraordinary results. Why it matters. This chapter is more than a wake-up call. It's a roadmap for breaking free from the trap of busyness and stepping into a life of meaningful productivity. It challenges you to shift your focus, not to everything you could do, but to the one thing that truly matters. This simple yet profound idea holds the potential to transform not just how you work, but how you live. In a world obsessed with doing more, the one thing invites you to rethink your approach and aim for less but better. What's your one thing? Chapter 2, The Domino Effect. The second chapter unveils a game-changing concept, the domino effect, a principle that holds the key to achieving massive results by starting with one small, focused action. It's not about tackling everything at once. It's about strategically identifying the first step that triggers momentum toward your ultimate goals. The domino effect is rooted in an idea from physics. One domino, even if small, can topple another 50% larger. This exponential power means that a tiny, well-placed effort can eventually lead to monumental achievements. Success works the same way. When you focus on the right first action, you create a chain reaction of progress that builds upon itself. Extraordinary starts small. The chapter drives home an important truth. Extraordinary success rarely happens overnight. It begins with clarity about the one small thing that matters most. By focusing your energy on that single, impactful action, you build momentum. Over time, this leads to larger and larger victories. This concept challenges the modern obsession with multitasking and doing more. Instead of spreading yourself thin, the domino effect encourages you to channel your focus on what truly matters, trusting that consistent, intentional actions will lead to transformative outcomes. Sequential success. Success is not simultaneous, it's sequential. Picture a row of dominoes. You can't knock them all down at once, but by focusing on the first one, you set the entire chain in motion. The chapter emphasizes that greatness comes from stacking the right priorities in the right order. You don't need to take on everything. You need to identify and act on the next domino that moves you closer to your goal. This approach requires patience and discipline, but the rewards are worth it. Each domino you knock over builds momentum and makes it easier to tackle the next. It's about leveraging progress, not willpower, to keep going. Why most people fail. The chapter highlights a common pitfall. People often spread their efforts across too many tasks, failing to create momentum in any one area. Without focus, progress becomes scattered and big goals remain out of reach. The domino effect teaches us to concentrate on one clear priority, which naturally aligns and simplifies the rest. How to apply it. To harness the domino effect, ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do right now that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? Focus on that first action, no matter how small. Then trust the process. Momentum grows when you act consistently, one domino at a time. This chapter is a powerful reminder that success doesn't require heroic effort. It starts with choosing the right first step and letting that effort build into something extraordinary. Chapter 3. Success Leaves Clues. This chapter delivers a timeless yet often overlooked truth. Success is not accidental. It leaves a trail of clues, patterns, and principles that, when followed, can dramatically improve your chances of achieving extraordinary results. Success isn't reserved for a select few. It's available to anyone willing to learn from those who've walked the path before them. The path to mastery. One of the central ideas in this chapter is that success is built on models. Behind every significant accomplishment lies a set of repeatable behaviors, strategies, and systems that others have already figured out. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, the smart approach is to study these models and adapt them to your goals. Whether it's in business, fitness, relationships, or personal growth, there's no need to start from scratch. Someone, somewhere, has already achieved what you're striving for, and their journey holds valuable lessons. By identifying and applying these proven methods, you can accelerate your progress and avoid common pitfalls. The Pareto Principle. The chapter revisits the Pareto Principle, also known as the 80-20 rule. 80% of results come from 20% of efforts. High achievers use this principle to focus on the small number of activities that yield the greatest impact. They don't scatter their energy across low-value tasks. They zero in on the actions that drive progress toward their one thing. The lesson here is simple yet profound. Stop working harder on everything and start working smarter on what matters most. Success doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what matters consistently, standing on the shoulders of giants. The chapter encourages you to embrace the power of mentorship and modeling. Greatness often stems from studying and emulating those who've already succeeded in your field. Their stories, habits, and strategies offer a treasure trove of insights you can use to refine your own approach. By analyzing their paths, you can uncover the specific steps they took, the challenges they overcame, and the priorities they focused on. This isn't about copying. It's about learning and adapting their methods to fit your unique circumstances. The cost of ignoring clues. One of the most compelling points in this chapter is the danger of ignoring success clues. Many people believe they can figure it out on their own, but this approach often leads to wasted time, unnecessary mistakes, and frustration. The truth is, success isn't about trial and error. It's about following proven paths and adjusting as you go. By paying attention to the clues left by others, you can shorten your learning curve and achieve your goals faster. It's like having a roadmap. While others wander aimlessly, you move with purpose and precision. Actionable wisdom. The chapter concludes with a challenge. Seek out the clues around you. Study the successes in your industry, your community, or even history. Look for patterns in how they prioritized, made decisions, and stayed committed to their goals. Then, apply what you've learned. Success leaves behind a trail, but it's up to you to follow it. When you commit to learning from others, you're not just increasing your odds of success. You're unlocking a proven blueprint for achieving extraordinary results. Chapter 4. Everything Matters Equally. This chapter challenges one of the most commonly held beliefs about productivity and success, the idea that everything on our to-do list is equally important. The truth, however, is far more powerful and freeing. Not all tasks are created equal. Some things are far more critical than others, and the key to extraordinary results lies in focusing on the few that really matter. The myth of equal importance. At first glance, it seems logical to treat all tasks with the same urgency. After all, our to-do lists are full of seemingly important activities: work, family, health, and more. But here's the problem. When everything is given equal weight, we dilute our focus and spread ourselves too thin. By treating everything as urgent, we inadvertently fail to focus on the one thing that could truly move the needle in our lives. The chapter drives home an essential concept. Extraordinary results come from narrowing your focus to what matters most. It's not about doing everything. It's about doing one thing that will make everything else easier or unnecessary. The 80-20 rule in action. This chapter builds on the Pareto principle, or the 80-20 rule, which states that 80% of our results come from just 20% of our actions. The challenge is identifying and prioritizing that critical 20%. In a world that bombards us with distractions, it's easy to get lost in the 80% of tasks that won't significantly move us forward. By focusing on the vital few actions, those 20%, we can exponentially increase our impact and success. The 80-20 rule shows us that the most effective use of our time and energy is spent on the few tasks that lead to the greatest results. If you want extraordinary outcomes, you must resist the temptation to get bogged down in less impactful, surface-level activities. The domino effect revisited. The chapter reinforces the importance of focus by revisiting the domino effect from earlier in the book. Just like the first domino sets off a chain reaction, focusing on the right tasks sets off a series of successes. It's not about handling every small thing on your plate. It's about finding that one pivotal task that will trigger a wave of positive changes. When you concentrate on that one thing, you eliminate the unnecessary noise and free up energy for what truly matters. The key to extraordinary results lies in constantly discerning which actions, relationships, or opportunities will have the greatest impact and focusing on them relentlessly. Saying no to the less important. One of the most challenging parts of this chapter is the call to say no. It's easy to say yes to every opportunity, every request, and every new project that comes your way. But saying yes to everything means you're spreading your energy thin and avoiding the hard but essential decisions. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful tools in achieving extraordinary success. It's not about rejecting others. It's about protecting your time and focus for the things that truly matter. By saying no to the non-essential, you create space to say yes to what moves you forward. It's a deliberate act of discipline and clarity. The power of focused effort. Ultimately, this chapter is a call to action. Focus your efforts on what makes the most difference. When you focus on your most important tasks, those that align with your long-term goals and values, you become more efficient, more impactful, and more successful. The world is filled with distractions, but by embracing the principle that not everything matters equally, you can laser focus on the few things that will lead to extraordinary results. The key takeaway is clear. Make the most of your time by identifying what matters most. By doing so, you'll unlock your ability to achieve remarkable things and leave the trivial behind. Chapter 5. Multitasking. In this chapter, the myth of multitasking is shattered once and for all. We live in a world that celebrates the ability to juggle multiple tasks at once, believing it's a sign of efficiency and productivity. But the reality is much different. The truth is, multitasking is a productivity killer, and it often leads to diminished quality, greater stress, and slower progress toward our goals. The myth of multitasking. The chapter opens with a simple yet profound truth. Human beings are not built to multitask. While our brains can switch between tasks rapidly, it cannot focus on two things at once. What we call multitasking is actually task switching, and this constant shifting of focus can decrease performance by as much as 40%. Every time you switch from one task to another, your brain needs to refocus, and that process takes time and energy. This mental back and forth doesn't just slow us down, it compromises the quality of our work. When we try to do too many things at once, we split our attention and end up performing each task at a subpar level. In the end, multitasking wastes time and undermines our productivity. The cost of multitasking. The chapter dives deeper into the real costs of multitasking. When we multitask, we're not just losing time, we're losing mental energy, creativity, and focus. By dividing our attention, we strain our cognitive abilities, leading to burnout and frustration. The cumulative effect of switching between tasks without focus can significantly hinder our ability to achieve extraordinary results. The authors point out that multitasking is especially detrimental when it comes to the one thing, the most important task we should be focusing on. By splitting our attention, we fail to devote the full mental power necessary to make progress toward our biggest goals. Success, as the book suggests, requires laser-sharp focus on the right tasks. Multitasking undermines this by scattering our energy across multiple, often irrelevant tasks. The power of single tasking. To counter the damage done by multitasking, the authors propose a better alternative: single tasking. This isn't just about focusing on one thing at a time. It's about committing to that one thing fully, with complete focus and dedication. Single tasking allows us to channel our energy into the most important tasks, enabling us to work more efficiently and effectively. When we engage in single tasking, we're giving ourselves the space to do high-quality work, to think deeply, and to make better decisions. The chapter highlights the importance of this approach in achieving extraordinary results, as it aligns with the principle that extraordinary success comes from focus. By concentrating on fewer things, we can do them better, faster, and with greater impact. The practice of focus. A powerful strategy the chapter outlines is the practice of focusing on the one thing that will make everything else easier or unnecessary. The authors suggest blocking off time to work on this singular task without distractions or interruptions. Whether it's turning off notifications, closing irrelevant tabs, or setting specific work periods, the key is to create an environment where multitasking is impossible. The chapter also stresses the importance of creating routines that support focus. Set specific times for specific tasks and stick to them. When you schedule your time with purpose and intentionality, you ensure that you're putting your full attention into what matters most, rather than getting pulled into the chaos of daily distractions. The bottom line. In this chapter, we are urged to let go of the myth of multitasking. It's not a sign of productivity, it's a trap. True success comes from focus, from dedicating time and energy to the tasks that move us forward the most. By embracing single tasking, we can work smarter, not harder, and make real progress toward extraordinary results. Chapter 6. A Disciplined Life. In this chapter, the focus shifts to the importance of discipline in achieving extraordinary results. The idea of discipline often conjures images of rigid schedules or grueling routines, but the chapter redefines it as something more powerful and purposeful. Discipline is about doing what matters most, consistently and with intentionality. The power of consistency. One of the central ideas presented is that true success doesn't come from bursts of intense effort, but from consistent action over time. While talent, opportunity, and luck can all play a part in success, it's discipline that provides the foundation for extraordinary results. In other words, it's not about what you do once in a while. It's about what you do every day. Discipline is not a one-time event or a fleeting burst of effort. Instead, it's a commitment to daily actions that align with your goals, regardless of challenges, distractions, or temptations. By consistently prioritizing the most important tasks, the ones that move the needle on your biggest objectives, you build a life of purpose and progress. The chapter stresses that, over time, small disciplined actions compound and create massive momentum toward achieving your goals. The discipline of focus. Discipline is closely tied to focus. To be truly disciplined, you need to continually say no to distractions and choose to invest your time and energy in the one thing that matters most. This means making tough choices, like turning down opportunities that don't align with your goals and dedicating yourself to tasks that will create real impact. The chapter emphasizes that discipline doesn't require a rigid, joyless life. Rather, it's about committing to the right things and saying no to everything else. It's about being selective in your commitments and making the conscious decision to give your full attention and energy to the priorities that drive you forward. Discipline, therefore, is the practice of saying yes to your most important goals and saying no to the distractions that threaten to pull you away from them. Willpower versus discipline. A powerful distinction is made between willpower and discipline. Willpower, while valuable, is a limited resource. It can only carry you so far before it begins to fade. Discipline, on the other hand, is a muscle that can be strengthened over time. The more you practice discipline in your daily life, the more natural it becomes to prioritize what's important. The chapter suggests that relying solely on willpower to achieve your goals is a flawed approach. Instead, discipline is about building habits and routines that make focusing on your most important work automatic. For example, instead of waiting for motivation or willpower to strike, you create an environment where the discipline to focus on your one thing is built into your day-to-day routine. Over time, this consistency becomes second nature. The importance of saying no. A significant aspect of leading a disciplined life is learning to say no. This can be one of the most difficult challenges to overcome, especially in a world that encourages constant involvement in various tasks and commitments. However, saying no is critical to maintaining focus on your most important goals. It's about protecting your time and energy for what truly matters. Discipline allows you to prioritize with clarity and confidence. By saying no to distractions and non-essential tasks, you create space for the things that will drive you toward extraordinary results. Conclusion: a disciplined life equals extraordinary results. This chapter powerfully redefines discipline, not as rigid self-control, but as the practice of consistently focusing on the few things that matter most. Discipline is what separates those who achieve extraordinary results from those who merely drift through life. It's about making the right choices each day, taking intentional actions, and saying no to the distractions that threaten to steal your time and energy. By embracing a disciplined life, you unlock your potential for achieving remarkable success and lasting impact. Chapter 7. Willpower is always on will call. In this chapter, the focus is on the often misunderstood and overestimated concept of willpower. Many people believe that willpower is the key to success. Just push through, dig deep, and you'll achieve your goals. However, this chapter reveals that willpower is not the limitless resource we often think it is. Instead, it's a fragile and finite force that requires careful management and strategy. The myth of infinite willpower. The chapter begins by challenging the widely held belief that willpower is an unending supply of strength we can tap into at any time. In reality, willpower is like a muscle. It gets depleted the more you use it. Every decision, every action that requires effort or focus drains a little bit of willpower. Over the course of a day, as you make more choices, your willpower weakens, making it harder to stay focused on the important tasks that lead to extraordinary results. What's most fascinating here is the idea that willpower operates in a way that's almost like a reserve, something we can access, but it's not always available in abundance. When willpower is used up, it's harder to resist temptation, say no to distractions, and stay on task. The more decisions you make throughout the day, the less willpower you have left to tackle your most important tasks. Willpower is on will call. The key insight in this chapter is that willpower is always on will call. You don't know when it will show up or how much you'll have left at any given moment. This makes relying on it for consistent productivity or success incredibly unreliable. The lesson here is profound. Stop depending on willpower. The key to success isn't about powering through with sheer force of will. It's about creating an environment and structure that reduces the need for willpower altogether. By acknowledging that willpower is limited, the chapter suggests we should focus on optimizing our environments, habits, and routines to minimize the strain on our willpower reserves. When you structure your life to align with your goals, you reduce the number of decisions that require your willpower, making it easier to stay focused on what matters most. Building willpower-friendly routines. The chapter goes on to offer a solution. Create systems and habits that don't rely on willpower. This means setting up your life in a way that makes it automatic to focus on your most important tasks, reducing the mental effort required to make good decisions. Instead of forcing yourself to use willpower to say no to distractions or stick to your goals, you build habits and routines that naturally support your success. For example, if your most important task is exercising every day, make it so easy and automatic that it doesn't require much mental energy. Lay out your workout clothes the night before, schedule your workout at the same time each day, and create an environment that encourages action. By creating these kinds of routines, you reduce the mental effort required to get started, conserving your willpower for other areas of your life. The power of pre-commitment. One of the strongest strategies the chapter suggests is pre-committing to the right actions ahead of time. By planning your day and making important decisions before willpower is depleted, you minimize the moments when you have to rely on willpower to choose the right course of action. This could mean making key decisions the night before: what to eat, when to work, how to prioritize your tasks, so that you don't have to use your diminishing willpower to make these choices in the heat of the moment. Conclusion: managing willpower for success. This chapter shifts our understanding of willpower from a mythical force we can call upon at will to a precious resource that needs to be managed wisely. By recognizing that willpower is finite and that it gets drained with every decision we make, we can adopt strategies to conserve it. Instead of relying on sheer willpower to power through our day, we can create habits, systems, and routines that make success almost automatic. When we stop depending on willpower to push through every challenge, we unlock our ability to achieve extraordinary results more effortlessly and sustainably. Chapter 8: A Balanced Life. In this chapter, the authors tackle one of the most persistent misconceptions about success: the idea of achieving a balanced life. We often hear that the key to happiness and success is finding balance, spreading our energy evenly across all aspects of our lives, from career to relationships to health. But the truth is far more powerful and liberating. A balanced life is a lie. Striving for balance in all areas can actually keep us from achieving extraordinary results. Instead, the chapter introduces a new way of thinking. Live with counterbalance. The myth of balance. The chapter begins by questioning the popular idea that success in life requires perfect balance. We're told that in order to be fulfilled, we must spend equal time and energy on every area of our lives: work, family, health, personal growth, and more. However, this approach leads to mediocrity. Balance often means giving a little bit of time and energy to everything, which means giving too little to what truly matters. This results in a life full of activity, but lacking true progress in the areas that make the biggest difference. When you try to achieve balance, you end up diluting your focus, which prevents you from dedicating enough time and energy to the one thing that will create the most extraordinary results. By stretching yourself too thin, you risk sacrificing excellence in the pursuit of balance. The concept of counterbalance. Rather than pursuing balance, the authors propose the concept of counterbalance, living a life where you intentionally prioritize your most important goals at different times. The key to achieving extraordinary results is understanding that different areas of your life need varying levels of attention depending on what you're working toward at any given moment. Counterbalance allows you to focus on what matters most in the present, fully immersing yourself in the task at hand. At times, your work will require intense focus, and other times, your family or health may need more attention. Counterbalance doesn't mean ignoring other areas of life. It means being strategic about when and where you invest your time. For example, there may be periods when you're intensely focused on a career project, and at other times, you may give extra time to your health or relationships. Instead of forcing balance, counterbalance allows you to make intentional, strategic decisions about where to direct your energy. Saying no to everything else. A powerful theme in this chapter is learning to say no to distractions and things that don't align with your highest priorities. The myth of balance leads to the expectation that we must be constantly available and responsive to every demand. But in reality, achieving extraordinary results requires making tough decisions about what to accept and what to reject. Saying no is a critical skill to maintaining focus on the most important goals. By being disciplined enough to say no to less important opportunities or obligations, you free up the time and energy required to focus on what matters. This selective commitment is the foundation of counterbalance, enabling you to pour your efforts into your most impactful goals without becoming overwhelmed by the noise of everything else. The importance of time blocking. One of the practical strategies introduced in this chapter is time blocking, setting aside specific blocks of time for your most important tasks. Time blocking helps eliminate distractions and create dedicated periods for deep work. By scheduling focused time for your top priorities, you actively counterbalance the many demands that life throws at you. It allows you to honor your highest priorities while also giving other areas of your life the attention they deserve when the time is right. The bottom line: focus, not balance. Ultimately, the chapter teaches that a life of extraordinary success is not one of perfect balance. It's one of focused intensity. It's about understanding that sometimes you need to throw yourself fully into one area of your life while allowing other parts to temporarily receive less attention. Counterbalance isn't about dividing your time equally between all areas. It's about knowing where to focus your energy to make the biggest impact at the right moment. By mastering the art of counterbalance, you can create extraordinary results while still nurturing the aspects of your life that are important without spreading yourself too thin. Chapter 9: Big is Bad. In this chapter, the authors challenge the conventional wisdom that bigger goals are always better. In a world where we are constantly encouraged to dream big and aim for grand success, the authors take a different approach. Instead of thinking that big is always the answer, they argue that big can actually be bad. The idea of going after massive goals can lead to overwhelm, burnout, and confusion, preventing us from achieving extraordinary results. The problem with big goals. The chapter begins by questioning the popular notion that bigger is always better. Society often praises big, audacious goals, the kind that make us feel inspired, excited, and driven. But the authors point out that these huge goals can quickly become overwhelming. The larger the goal, the more complex it becomes, and the harder it is to figure out where to start. Aiming for massive success without focusing on the essential tasks can lead to paralysis. Instead of moving forward with clarity and purpose, we get caught in the sheer magnitude of the goal and lose sight of what's truly important. Large goals can often feel so distant and intimidating that they end up creating a sense of anxiety rather than motivation. The power of small, focused goals. Rather than aiming for big goals, the authors suggest that the path to extraordinary success lies in setting small, focused goals. These goals aren't insignificant, but they are clear, actionable, and achievable in the near future. Small goals provide a sense of accomplishment, momentum, and focus, which can propel us forward toward larger achievements over time. By focusing on what's immediately important and breaking down the big into smaller, more manageable chunks, we can create clarity and drive. The key is to simplify the process, focus on the next step, and consistently move toward the larger vision without getting lost in its complexity. A small, clear goal gives you the energy and clarity to make progress every day, whereas a big goal can sometimes feel like a distant, unachievable dream. The paradox of success. The chapter also discusses a surprising paradox. As we achieve success, the bigger we dream, the more we set ourselves up for stress and failure. This paradox arises because the more we try to do, the less we're able to focus on the truly important tasks that lead to extraordinary results. Bigger doesn't always mean better. Often, it's the smaller, more precise goals that can lead to the greatest success. By simplifying our focus and removing the distractions of irrelevant tasks, we can direct our energy toward what really matters. The authors argue that when we focus on the one thing that will make the greatest impact, it's easier to achieve success. Big goals require complex strategies and often end up spreading our efforts too thin. Instead, by focusing on one key area at a time, we can achieve greater results with less effort and frustration. The art of simplification. A major theme of the chapter is the importance of simplifying. Instead of trying to tackle everything at once or chasing after overly ambitious goals, simplifying allows us to focus on what truly matters. By narrowing our focus and eliminating distractions, we create the space to make real progress on the things that will move us closer to success. The authors introduce the concept of small wins. These are the small steps that, when compounded over time, lead to bigger successes. It's through these small, consistent wins that we build momentum, confidence, and achievement. Rather than waiting for the big breakthrough, the key is to focus on consistent, daily actions that lead to extraordinary results. Conclusion: focus on what matters most. The chapter concludes with a powerful lesson. Big is bad because it often leads to confusion, stress, and overwhelm. Instead of aiming for large, unrealistic goals, we should focus on small, meaningful tasks that align with our ultimate vision. By narrowing our focus and eliminating distractions, we can create momentum and achieve extraordinary results without being weighed down by the complexity and enormity of big goals. Through the power of simplicity and clarity, we find the true path to success. Chapter 10: The Focusing Question. In this chapter, the authors introduce a game-changing tool for achieving extraordinary results: the focusing question. It's a deceptively simple, yet profoundly powerful concept that can transform the way we approach our goals and daily tasks. At its core, the focusing question is designed to help you identify the one thing that matters most at any given moment, cutting through the noise and distractions of everyday life. The power of focus. The central theme of this chapter is that focus is the key to extraordinary success. In a world filled with constant distractions, competing demands, and endless to-do lists, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and unfocused. The authors argue that success comes not from trying to do everything, but from asking the right question to determine the one thing that will make the greatest impact. The focusing question is simple. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? This question shifts your focus from trying to juggle multiple tasks to concentrating on the one action that will create the biggest ripple effect in your life. It cuts through complexity and helps you prioritize what really matters. The shift in thinking. What makes the focusing question so powerful is that it forces you to think differently. Most people approach their days by reacting to whatever comes their way, tackling whatever seems most urgent or pressing in the moment. However, this reactive mindset often leads to scattered energy and incomplete progress. The focusing question, on the other hand, promotes a proactive approach. It encourages you to identify the highest leverage action, the one that, when completed, will make everything else easier or even unnecessary. Instead of multitasking and spreading yourself thin, you focus your time and energy on the task that will yield the greatest results. Applying the focusing question. The authors emphasize that applying the focusing question is not just about asking it once and moving on. It's a continuous process. You must ask yourself this question repeatedly, over and over, for each area of your life. Whether it's in your personal life, career, or health, this question helps you identify the critical few actions that will produce the most significant outcomes. For example, when it comes to your work, you might ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do today that will make my biggest project easier or unnecessary? In your personal life, you might ask, what's the one thing I can do today to improve my health or strengthen my relationships? By continuously applying the focusing question, you ensure that your efforts are always aligned with your ultimate goals. Eliminating distractions. One of the most important insights in this chapter is that the focusing question helps eliminate distractions. When you start with the question of what will make everything else easier or unnecessary, it becomes easier to say no to things that don't matter. The ability to focus on what's truly important, what will make the most significant impact, requires discipline and courage. It's about creating boundaries around your time and energy and staying focused on the one thing that will move you forward. The importance of clarity. The chapter also underscores the importance of clarity in using the focusing question effectively. In order to identify the one thing that will have the greatest impact, you need to have a clear vision of your goals. Without clarity, it's easy to get caught up in trivial tasks and lose sight of what really matters. The clearer your vision and purpose, the more powerfully you can apply the focusing question to achieve extraordinary results. Conclusion: the path to extraordinary results. In the final analysis, the focusing question is the tool that brings everything together. It transforms how you approach your time, tasks, and goals, shifting your mindset from one of overwhelm and distraction to one of purpose and focus. By consistently asking this question and taking action on the answers, you will accomplish more with less effort, creating extraordinary results in every area of your life. The focusing question is your roadmap to achieving what matters most, cutting through the clutter of everyday life and staying laser focused on the actions that will make the biggest difference. Chapter 11, The Success Habit. In this chapter, the authors reveal the secret to achieving extraordinary results, developing the success habit. It's not about radical overnight changes or massive shifts in behavior. It's about the small, consistent actions that, when repeated over time, create monumental outcomes. The authors highlight that success doesn't happen by chance, but through a disciplined habit of focusing on the one thing that matters most: the power of habit. The central message of the chapter is that habits are the foundation of success. While we may think that success comes from occasional bursts of productivity or great decisions, the truth is far more simple. What we do consistently is what shapes our results. Habits, especially those that align with our most important goals, determine the course of our lives. The authors emphasize that success is not a singular event. Rather, it's the outcome of the habits we cultivate over time. It's the small, often unnoticed actions done daily that compound into extraordinary results. While many people chase big, dramatic changes or wait for the perfect moment to act, those who succeed understand the power of consistent, intentional habits. The one thing you can do. The chapter digs deeper into the idea of making habits work for you. The authors stress that the key is to focus on the one habit that will have the greatest impact on your life. It's not about trying to change everything at once or taking on a million new tasks. It's about identifying that one action or behavior that, when repeated, will make everything else easier or unnecessary. For example, A simple yet powerful habit like exercising each morning can improve both your physical health and mental clarity. Or, consistently reading and learning each day can boost your knowledge and career success. The goal is to identify the one thing in each area of your life that, by mastering it, will unlock greater success across the board. The role of willpower. Building a success habit requires willpower, but the authors note that willpower is a limited resource. It's not something you can rely on forever or expect to be in abundance all the time. To overcome this, the chapter suggests a strategy of habit stacking, linking your new habit to an already established one. By making the new behavior part of an existing routine, you reduce the need for willpower and make the new habit stick. For example, if you already drink coffee every morning, you might stack a 5-minute stretching session right after your coffee break. The importance of consistency. A core principle of this chapter is the idea that consistency is key. Success doesn't come from the big, showy actions. It comes from showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it. The authors stress that persistence, not perfection, is the true measure of success. Small steps taken consistently over time create momentum and lead to breakthroughs. In fact, the chapter points out that success is often just a matter of sticking with it long enough for the compound effect to take hold. Mastering the success habit. The chapter also outlines how to turn success into a habit. One of the most powerful tools is the idea of time blocking, setting aside uninterrupted periods of time to focus on your most important tasks. By committing specific times to the one thing that will bring you closer to your goals, you create the space for habit formation and consistent progress. Building a success habit also means embracing a mindset shift. Rather than focusing on the outcome, you focus on the process. When you build habits that support your long-term success, the results will come naturally. But it all starts with making the decision to commit to the right habits and staying consistent. Conclusion. Consistency creates extraordinary results. In summary, this chapter teaches that success is a product of consistent habits. By focusing on the one thing that will have the greatest impact on your life and committing to that habit day in and day out, you can create extraordinary results. Success doesn't come from one-time actions. It comes from the daily choices you make. The success habit is not a shortcut. It's the path to lasting achievement. And it's available to anyone willing to commit to the process of becoming great through consistent action. The secret to extraordinary results lies not in waiting for a big moment, but in mastering the small habits that will lead you there. Chapter 12, The Path to Great Answers. In this chapter, the authors emphasize the power of asking the right questions to unlock extraordinary results. They argue that great answers come from great questions, and the quality of the answers you receive directly depends on the quality of the questions you ask. By shifting your focus from answering every question to asking the most critical ones, you can dramatically improve your decision-making, creativity, and productivity. The importance of asking the right questions. The central theme of this chapter is that questions drive focus. While many people rush to solve problems or find answers, the authors suggest that the real breakthrough happens when you stop and ask the right questions. This approach forces you to think deeper and more strategically about what matters most. Instead of focusing on solving a problem, you focus on identifying the question that will lead you to the most powerful solution. The chapter highlights that effective questions are ones that challenge assumptions, open new possibilities, and uncover hidden truths. By asking these questions, you move away from surface-level thinking and dive into more profound insights. This process of questioning leads to clarity, allowing you to make better decisions and take smarter actions. The power of the focusing question. The authors revisit the focusing question introduced earlier and stress how it plays a pivotal role in helping you find the right answers. The focusing question. What's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Acts as a powerful tool to clarify your priorities. It helps you filter out the noise and zero in on the actions that will have the most significant impact on your life. By consistently asking the focusing question, you bring your attention to the one thing that will move the needle in your personal or professional life? This question becomes a guidepost, leading you away from distractions and toward what truly matters. It simplifies complex situations and helps you find solutions that are both effective and efficient. Asking the right question to drive results. The chapter also discusses how to use questions to drive results. Successful people understand the importance of strategic questioning, asking questions that spark innovation, create new opportunities, and lead to clearer paths forward. Rather than simply accepting what's in front of them, they ask, what's the one thing I need to do to achieve my goals? Or, what's the most important thing that will move me closer to my dream? By asking such questions, they gain insight and perspective that fuels action. Asking the right question often requires deep introspection and self-awareness. The authors encourage readers to think critically about their goals and the obstacles they face. Only by understanding the true nature of a problem can you ask the right question to solve it. The role of creativity and curiosity. An essential part of finding great answers is cultivating creativity and curiosity. The authors argue that asking the right questions requires an open mind and a willingness to explore new ideas. This mindset of curiosity leads to innovative thinking and fresh solutions, enabling you to break free from conventional problem-solving techniques. The authors suggest that the process of questioning isn't just about finding solutions to immediate problems. It's about creating possibilities. When you approach challenges with curiosity and a desire to learn, you naturally come up with better answers that lead to higher-level success. Overcoming the need for immediate answers. A major insight in the chapter is the realization that answers don't need to be immediate. Often, we rush to conclusions or try to come up with solutions too quickly. But this can lead to superficial or ineffective decisions. Instead, the authors suggest that by asking the right questions and taking the time to reflect, you create space for better answers to emerge. Sometimes the best answers take time to form, and by practicing patience and allowing yourself to ask the right questions, you set yourself up for greater clarity and better decision-making. It's the process of questioning that leads to clarity, not the act of coming up with an answer on the spot. Conclusion: the power of questions in achieving success. In summary, the key to unlocking extraordinary results is rooted in the ability to ask great questions. By consistently asking questions that challenge your thinking, you unlock deeper insights that guide your actions. The process of questioning sharpens your focus and helps you align your efforts with your highest priorities. Great answers don't come from rushing to conclusions. They come from the thoughtful, strategic questions you ask along the way. As you continue to ask the right questions, you'll find that the path to extraordinary results becomes clearer, and the answers you seek will reveal themselves with greater ease and clarity. Chapter 13, Live with Purpose. Living with purpose is the cornerstone of achieving extraordinary results. In this chapter, the authors emphasize that a life of meaning and fulfillment doesn't happen by accident. It requires intentionality and clarity about what truly matters most. Purpose is not just a lofty concept. It's the driving force that shapes your actions, influences your decisions, and ultimately determines the legacy you leave behind. The power of purpose. Purpose is the why behind everything you do. It's the deep-seated reason that propels you forward, even when the path is difficult or unclear. The chapter highlights that purpose gives your life direction, acting like a compass that keeps you aligned with your most important priorities. Without purpose, it's easy to drift through life, consumed by distractions and unimportant tasks. But with purpose, every action becomes intentional, meaningful, and impactful. Living with purpose means identifying what matters most to you and ensuring that your goals and daily actions reflect that priority. Purpose is not something external to be discovered. It is something internal to be clarified. When you connect deeply with your purpose, you unlock the energy, focus, and resilience needed to overcome challenges and achieve your biggest dreams. Purpose and prioritization. The chapter draws a strong connection between purpose and prioritization. Once you're clear on your purpose, prioritizing becomes effortless. When you know your why, you can confidently say no to distractions and focus only on what truly aligns with your goals. Purpose gives you the clarity to identify your one thing, the single most important action that moves you closer to your vision of success. When you live with purpose, your daily choices become a reflection of your long-term vision. Whether it's in your career, relationships, health, or personal growth, purpose helps you align your actions with your deepest values. This alignment brings not only success, but also a profound sense of fulfillment. The ripple effect of purpose. Living with purpose doesn't just transform your life. It creates a ripple effect that impacts those around you. When you live intentionally and passionately, you inspire others to do the same. Purposeful living encourages you to give more, serve more, and contribute meaningfully to the world. The chapter suggests that by aligning your goals with your purpose, you create a legacy that extends beyond yourself, influencing your family, community, and even future generations. The practical path to purpose. The authors outline how to uncover and live with purpose. Start by asking yourself powerful questions. What matters most to me? What kind of person do I want to become? What legacy do I want to leave behind? These questions help you dig deep and connect with your inner motivations. Once you've identified your purpose, it's crucial to tie it to actionable goals. Purpose without action is meaningless. By aligning your daily tasks with your purpose, you create momentum that drives you closer to achieving your vision. Purpose is not about perfection, it's about progress. The chapter also stresses the importance of regularly revisiting your purpose. As life evolves, so may your understanding of what truly matters. By staying connected to your purpose, you ensure that your actions remain aligned with your highest priorities, no matter where life takes you. Conclusion. The foundation of a meaningful life. Living with purpose is about more than achieving success. It's about creating a life that feels deeply meaningful. Purpose is the anchor that keeps you grounded and the fuel that keeps you moving forward. It's the lens through which you can view your life with clarity and intention. When you live with purpose, every decision, action, and goal becomes a step toward a legacy that reflects the best version of yourself. In the end, the chapter reminds us that living with purpose is not a luxury reserved for a few. It's a choice available to everyone. By identifying what matters most to you and letting that purpose guide your life, you unlock the extraordinary potential to create both success and significance. Chapter 14. Live by priority. Living by priority is about aligning your actions with what truly matters most. This chapter emphasizes that success isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things at the right time. Prioritization is the bridge between the vision of your purpose and the practical steps required to achieve it. Without prioritization, even the most purposeful intentions can get lost in the noise of daily life. The nature of true priority. The word priority originally referred to one most important thing, not multiple things vying for attention. However, in modern times, the concept has been diluted, and people often juggle many priorities at once. The chapter urges us to refocus on the singular essence of the word and commit to identifying and acting on the one thing that truly matters. Living by priority requires ruthless clarity about what deserves your attention. Not all tasks hold the same weight. Some are essential, while others are distractions masquerading as progress. This chapter teaches that true productivity comes from understanding what is important and having the discipline to focus on it. Time blocking. Making your priorities non-negotiable. One of the most powerful tools for living by priority is time blocking. Dedicating specific chunks of your day to your most important tasks. By assigning focused, uninterrupted time to the one thing that matters most, you protect it from the chaos of your daily schedule. Time blocking ensures that your priorities are not pushed aside by less important but seemingly urgent tasks. The chapter emphasizes that your calendar should reflect your priorities, not the other way around. Each time block represents a commitment to honoring what matters most, giving you a tangible framework for progress. When you control your time, you control your outcomes. The power of saying no. Living by priority also requires the courage to say no to distractions and competing demands. Every yes to one thing is inherently a no to something else. If you say yes to every request, you risk spreading yourself too thin and failing to make meaningful progress. The chapter highlights that saying no isn't about being dismissive or selfish. It's about being intentional. When you say no to what doesn't align with your priority, you create space to give your full energy and attention to what truly matters. This clarity allows you to perform at your best and achieve extraordinary results. Aligning priorities with purpose. Purpose and priority go hand in hand. Your purpose provides the overarching vision, and prioritization translates that vision into action. Without this alignment, it's easy to get lost in busyness, mistaking motion for progress. The chapter urges readers to constantly ask themselves, what's the one thing I can do today that will move me closer to my purpose? By aligning your priorities with your purpose, you create a powerful synergy that amplifies your results and brings greater meaning to your efforts. The domino effect in action. Prioritization also ties back to the concept of the domino effect discussed earlier. When you focus on the right priority, it creates a ripple effect that simplifies or eliminates other tasks. The momentum generated by completing your most important task sets the stage for success in other areas of your life. By tackling the one thing that has the greatest impact, you leverage your time and energy in a way that multiplies results. This approach not only leads to extraordinary outcomes, but also reduces stress and overwhelm. Conclusion: mastering the art of prioritization. Living by priority is about more than just effective time management. It's a philosophy that shapes how you approach every aspect of your life. It's a commitment to clarity, focus, and intentionality. When you live by priority, you no longer feel like a victim of your to-do list or the demands of others. You take control of your time and direct it toward what truly matters. This chapter serves as a powerful reminder that success is not accidental. It is the result of consistent, deliberate action on the most important priorities. By mastering the art of prioritization, you unlock the ability to live a life of purpose, fulfillment, and extraordinary results. Chapter 15. Live for productivity. In this chapter, the focus is on shifting from a mindset of busyness to one of genuine productivity. Too often, we confuse activity with progress, believing that filling our time with tasks equates to success. However, true productivity is about achieving meaningful outcomes, not just staying busy. The key to a productive life is focusing on the right activities, those that move the needle and contribute to your larger goals. This chapter reveals how to cultivate a productivity mindset that creates lasting impact and drives extraordinary results. Productivity versus busyness. At the heart of the chapter is a critical distinction between being busy and being productive. Being busy can often feel like progress, checking off tasks, responding to emails, attending meetings, but it doesn't necessarily lead to significant results. On the other hand, being productive means directing your time and energy toward what truly matters, those actions that generate meaningful outcomes and align with your highest priorities. The chapter urges readers to resist the temptation of multitasking and shallow work that only fills the calendar, but doesn't move you closer to your goals. True productivity is about focusing on what truly matters and making substantial progress on those fronts. The productivity lies we tell ourselves. The chapter explores several myths that people often tell themselves when it comes to productivity. One common lie is that being busy means being productive. We may feel a sense of accomplishment from crossing off a long list of tasks, but that sense of productivity fades quickly when those tasks don't bring us closer to our core objectives. Another lie is that we need to do everything at once to achieve success. In reality, single tasking, focusing on one thing at a time, is far more effective and efficient than juggling multiple tasks. By accepting these myths and replacing them with truth, we can break free from the hamster wheel of constant activity and start achieving results that matter. Time blocking for deep focus. One of the most powerful strategies for living for productivity is time blocking, scheduling focused, uninterrupted time for your most important tasks. In this chapter, the authors advocate for blocking out specific time slots for deep, focused work. By dedicating time to your highest priorities and making that time non-negotiable, you allow yourself to make the kind of progress that other people only dream of. Time blocking forces you to take control of your schedule and actively choose what to prioritize, rather than letting others' demands dictate how your day unfolds. Protecting your focus. The chapter also emphasizes the importance of protecting your focus. Distractions are the enemy of productivity. In a world full of emails, notifications, and constant interruptions, maintaining deep focus is becoming increasingly difficult. However, the authors stress that the more you protect your focus, the more productive you'll be. This means creating an environment that minimizes distractions, setting boundaries with colleagues or family, and being intentional about when and where you work. When you protect your focus, you gain the ability to achieve more in less time, resulting in extraordinary productivity. Working with purpose. Living for productivity means working with purpose. When you are clear on your goals and aligned with your priorities, your work becomes meaningful and drives significant outcomes. The chapter encourages readers to stop simply working harder and start working smarter. Focus your energy on your one thing, the most impactful task that will make everything else easier or unnecessary. This targeted effort leads to greater momentum and results, creating a legacy of productivity. Finally, the chapter calls readers to consider how they can build a legacy of productivity. It's not just about being productive for the sake of getting things done. It's about creating lasting impact, whether in your career, personal life, or community. The chapter encourages you to think about what you want to be remembered for and ensure that your actions are in alignment with that vision. True productivity is not fleeting. It builds over time and leaves a lasting mark. Conclusion: the path to extraordinary results. In conclusion, living for productivity means making intentional choices every day to focus on what truly matters. It's about saying no to distractions and shallow tasks while committing time and energy to deep, meaningful work. By doing so, you shift from simply being busy to truly being productive, creating results that matter and ultimately shaping a life of extraordinary success. Through time blocking, protecting focus, and prioritizing your one thing, you can cultivate a productivity mindset that drives meaningful achievements and creates lasting impact. Chapter 16, The 3 Commitments. In this chapter, the focus shifts to the idea that achieving extraordinary results is not just about understanding principles, it's about making commitments. To unlock your full potential, you need to commit yourself fully to 3 core principles that drive success. These commitments are the foundation for achieving your biggest goals and overcoming the inevitable obstacles along the way. The authors explain that, while success may seem elusive at times, it is actually the result of specific, intentional choices that stem from these commitments. The first commitment: follow one thing. The first commitment is to follow one thing with laser focus. This commitment means embracing the idea of narrowing your efforts to the single most important task, the one thing that will make the biggest difference. By consistently prioritizing this one thing, you eliminate the clutter and distractions that often dilute your energy. This focus creates the momentum needed to achieve extraordinary results. The chapter emphasizes that successful people are not masters of multitasking. Rather, they are relentless in pursuing their primary goal and channeling all their resources into that pursuit. When you follow one thing, you simplify your choices, reduce stress, and increase your chances of success. The second commitment: live with purpose. The second commitment is about living with purpose. Having a clear sense of purpose serves as a guiding compass that directs your actions and decisions. It's easy to get lost in the day-to-day grind, but living with purpose helps you stay on track and aligned with your core values and long-term goals. Purpose creates passion, and passion fuels perseverance, even when the path gets difficult. When you live with purpose, you're able to identify your one thing and pursue it with intention, knowing why it matters. Purpose is the fire that keeps you moving forward, even in the face of setbacks and distractions. The chapter encourages you to always connect your daily efforts to a larger, more meaningful vision of your life. The third commitment: live with priority. The final commitment is to live with priority. This commitment requires you to prioritize your time, energy, and resources in a way that aligns with your most important goals. Success isn't just about making the right choices, it's about making those choices consistently. You must create boundaries and learn to say no to less important tasks in order to say yes to what truly matters. Living with priority means taking control of your time and using it wisely. It's not about being busy or filling your calendar with commitments that drain you. It's about carving out time for the things that will propel you toward your most important outcomes. Prioritization allows you to focus on the things that have the highest value and contribute most to your success. The power of commitment. The chapter goes on to emphasize that commitment is not just a fleeting decision, but a constant practice. To achieve extraordinary results, you must commit to your goals and remain unwavering, even when obstacles arise. Commitment requires mental toughness and discipline, and it's often the difference between success and failure. When you make a commitment, you stop treating success like an option and start treating it like a necessity. By integrating the three commitments, following one thing, living with purpose, and living with priority, you set yourself up for a life of achievement. Overcoming challenges. Making these commitments is not always easy, and the chapter doesn't shy away from addressing the challenges that come with them. Distractions, setbacks, and doubts will arise, but the authors stress that these are not roadblocks. They are part of the journey. When you are committed to your goals, challenges become opportunities to strengthen your resolve. Each obstacle you overcome is a testament to the power of commitment and brings you closer to your desired results. Conclusion: the path to extraordinary. Ultimately, the three commitments form the bedrock of a successful, fulfilling life. They are not simply ideas to consider, but actions to embrace and live out every day. When you follow one thing, live with purpose, and live with priority, you unlock the potential to achieve extraordinary results. The chapter reminds us that greatness isn't reserved for the lucky few. It's the result of making and sticking to commitments that focus your energy, sharpen your intentions, and drive you to success. Chapter 17, The Four Thieves. In this final chapter, the focus shifts to the concept of personal productivity sabotage, introducing the four thieves that rob us of focus, clarity, and ultimately extraordinary results. These thieves are common distractions and habits that subtly and sometimes not so subtly derail our pursuit of success. By understanding and addressing these four thieves, you can protect your most valuable resource, your time and energy. This chapter emphasizes that achieving greatness requires not just the right actions, but also the avoidance of these destructive forces. The first thief: inability to say no. The first thief is an insidious one: inability to say no. Saying yes to everything may feel good in the moment as we try to please others or maintain a sense of obligation, but in the long run, it spreads us thin and drains our focus. The chapter emphasizes that true productivity requires discernment, the ability to prioritize your one thing and reject everything that doesn't align with it. By saying yes to too many tasks, commitments, and responsibilities, we dilute our energy, preventing ourselves from achieving our most important goals. Mastering the art of saying no is not just about turning down opportunities, but about protecting the space required to excel in your chosen priorities. The second thief: fear of chaos. The second thief is fear of chaos. This thief plays on our need for control and order, leading us to avoid the discomfort that often comes with narrowing our focus. We may fear that by focusing solely on one thing, other parts of our life will fall into disarray. However, the reality is that embracing chaos is a necessary part of growth. The chapter teaches us that by focusing on what matters most, other areas will begin to naturally align. You may face moments of disorganization or imbalance, but this is the cost of doing something extraordinary. Fear of chaos prevents progress and traps us in a cycle of maintaining the status quo rather than pursuing greatness. The third thief: poor health habits. The third thief is poor health habits. Physical and mental well-being are the foundation for everything we do. Without good health, our energy, focus, and productivity suffer, making it impossible to sustain long-term success. This chapter stresses the importance of making health a priority, not just for feeling good in the moment, but for sustaining peak performance over time. Whether it's exercise, nutrition, sleep, or stress management, neglecting your health is a silent thief that undermines your ability to pursue your one thing with vigor and consistency. By committing to healthier habits, you fortify your body and mind to tackle the challenges ahead. The fourth thief, environment. The final thief is environment. Our environment has a profound impact on our focus and productivity. Distractions, negativity, and clutter in our physical or social environment can drain our energy and distract us from our goals. The chapter suggests that we create environments that support our one thing, whether it's by eliminating distractions, surrounding ourselves with positive influences, or setting up a workspace that fosters focus. By taking control of your environment, you remove the barriers to success and create a space that encourages high performance. Conclusion: protecting your focus. In the final moments of the chapter, the authors remind us that success is not just about hard work or determination. It's about protecting your focus from the four thieves that stand in your way. These thieves are subtle, but their impact is significant, and their presence can easily derail your progress. By learning to say no, embracing discomfort, prioritizing your health, and curating a supportive environment, you safeguard your ability to focus on your one thing. The chapter ends with a powerful reminder: extraordinary results aren't just about working harder, but about working smarter, by avoiding the thieves that rob you of time, energy, and attention. With these thieves out of the way, you can stay focused on your path to greatness and unlock the potential to achieve everything you've set out to do. And that's a wrap on The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. If this audiobook sparked an aha moment for you, let me know in the comments. What was your biggest takeaway? What struck you the most? And how do you plan to use it to create extraordinary results in your life? I'd also love to hear your suggestions for future books you'd like me to feature on the Book Lounge. Before you go, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss another powerful audiobook. And here's a bonus for you: a free one-page summary of today's book, packed with all the key insights to keep you inspired and on track. Just click the link in the description